Thank you so much for that. I actually had to check. I normally have Little Prince cufflinks. I'm a big fan of the Little Prince. That was a great image to start us off. Speaking of starting us off, that was our opening ceremony, and we will now move into our first panel, Fashion and Artisanship, Preserving Tradition in a Globalized World. This is a very important topic here in Puglia because when I came here last year for the first time, I saw so much that link between fashion and artisanship and that ability. You know, you meet families here who have been doing things for 3 or 4 generations, 5 generations, and now bringing that into modern fashion. So I'll turn over to our moderator for that first session, Professor Bordone. If you could please take the stage, and I'll turn over to you for our first session, and he will introduce the speakers of that first panel. Thank you. I'll go sit down.
Thank you very much. Thank you to everybody. Where are I supposed to sit? Middle, side?
Be creative. Be creative.
Be creative. Okay. So I apologize. I'm a little bit old school. I couldn't print my papers. I prefer to use a Mac. So let's kick in with the first panel. Unfortunately, we had Tumelo Moema. She wasn't able to come here for personal reason. I think due to passport, we had quite a few issues with the passport. And let me start to call Tessy Anthony de Nassau. It's going to be our first panelist. And the second one to come in is my fellow countrymate, Antonio Pio Saracino. Fantastic. So are we starting with Tumelo or with the people present and then we show? We start with the people present. In the middle. Yes. If it's just you and me. That's it. That's it. So Tessy Anthony de Nassau, CEO of Human Highness. Great, fantastic. So I do have quite a few questions for you. The first one I would like to start with, how come you were late this morning for the bus?
Yes, I will be forever the one that was late. I'm so sorry. But I'm so happy to be here, really. Thank you.
Fantastic. You didn't really answer, but that's
You
fine.
needed to say that, you know. It's the elephant in the room here. I'm sorry.
Tessy, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, first of all, if you have a couple of minutes about what you do, who you are,
Yes.
and then we kick in with the questions.
With pleasure. I'm Tessy. I'm originally from Luxembourg. I have 4 children, which is always why I start. It's kind of like, for me, everything I build and everything I do is for them. It's my legacy I want to keep behind. I always mention them first. That is why I'm here, to build for them. Other than that, I was in the military for 6 years in active combat when I was 18. Thank you. It has truly shaped me. I was in the military with my twin brother, which is a huge inspiration for me. Was deployed to war at 18 with 500 men for the first time, very young. Then went on, got married, but always worked. Was part of the royal family in Luxembourg for 12 years as an active member, while also building different businesses and working for different companies. So I worked for Vice Media in the UK as the director for EMEA. For impact specifically, impact is something that has always been important to me. What is the footprint we leave behind? And that can be the way what we dress, what we use as products, how we travel, what we eat, and all of these things. So impact has always been important to me, and kind of like the red thread between the different positions that I was holding. Then from there on, I moved around. I lived between London, Luxembourg, and Zurich, where I sit on boards as an executive, helping the companies find their footprint and what they need to do. Then I have my fashion business, which I'm very proud of. It's something I kind of slipped in, but I think as a woman, it's something everyone should just have. It's fun, and I do know where my clothes are made. For my last manufacturer, which we will get into more detail, it took me a long time to find them because it was important for me to find someone that aligns me with my values. Then, I have baby books because I love babies, and I thought, with these books, they are in hospitals now in Zurich. When the babies are born, they get this as a gift from the hospitals. It's about culture and tradition, which is also something that we heard from the keynote speaker and also from Tayo and also from Mr. Hammond, that the importance of culture. And I thought it's something that no one can ever take away from you. And so these books talk about architecture, food, animals and plants of the cities that the kids are born, and they grow up with it, which I think is beautiful. Well, that's it in a nutshell. I will stop here.
Wow, fantastic. Fantastic. And we would like to know a little bit more about our second speaker, Antonio Pio Saracino, countryman. You're actually from Puglia, but based in New York, right? Yes. Can you tell us something about yourself, please?
So yeah, I'm from Puglia. I'm from a town in Gargano area in the north of Puglia. And then I studied in Rome, and I moved in New York for an internship. And for a different reason, I started to work in the US, and then I established my business there. It's been now 22 years. I became also US citizen in the meanwhile. And so I've been exposed in New York in all this cultural globalization idea, because New York is the city of globalization idea. But I was very interested also how deglobalization is starting, as Felipe has mentioned, the other keynote speaker, in this moment in the world. And as for me, I've been creating my practice in the past 20 years in architecture and design, and I do as well public art. And I always maintain very active my relationship with Puglia and Italian culture, as Italian design has been respected throughout the world. So this is a big part of my career, creating design and architecture around the world.
Fantastic. Do you want to discuss politics with mayoral campaign in the New York?
Yeah, in 2 days we will see. It's very active, the debate right now in New York, to see what's happening as next. Obviously, we can express our ideas because we live in a free speech world, and I vote for Cuomo in advance for different reasons. But yeah, we don't discuss politics here.
Let's stick to creativity. Good. So, Tessy, tell us something. You're the CEO of a Human Highness, yes, right? How do you see the future of the organization, especially in regard to everything they said about globalization, AI? How do you think to take your organization forward?
So my organization is now 5 years old, but for me, my first priority was not scaling, which I think is a bit odd to say. Even my husband is like, "What are you doing?" And I said to him, no, I really want to grow it organically, the way that it grows with me, that I get to know the brand and what I want from it, the values of it, who and what I represent with it. And so I see a globalized world, as our keynote speaker Philip said, as an opportunity. I have met the most amazing people working in this field through fashion weeks and stylists. With Tayo, we connected really strongly on this. So I think there's a lot of opportunities, but there's a lot of responsibility as well. And as such, I want to create craftsmanship excellence while having a sustainable scalability. And as such, I think they go hand in hand. And I'm looking forward to where we'll go. I created just my new collection, which just came out last week for my 40th birthday. And it's really, for me as well, a journey, because I'm new to the creativity in the space as such, and thus I have a lot to learn and from all of you, and I'm looking forward to hear what you have to say and to connect.
Fantastic. Are you planning to produce in Puglia as well, or to collaborate here more in this fantastic land in the future?
Absolutely. I think I would never restrict myself or denying an opportunity for a collaboration. So please get in touch if you feel connected to my values and what I stand for. I would love to definitely hear from you. Puglia is absolutely beautiful, my first time here as well. And yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to see what comes out of the Creative Economic Forum.
You're producing in couture, right?
Yes, so I produce. I produce also in Italy, like the silk scarves. It's couture, but it's a mainstream couture, if you want. It's very high quality, but I want to make it available not just for people who can afford it. I want, like, for example, also some of my friends, when I travel around the world, to enjoy that exquisity and this craftsmanship as well as the fabric and design, if possible. So I'm still figuring this out, as you can tell, but I'm getting there.
This is fantastic. If you don't mind, I will continue with you with a couple more questions before we move on to Antonio. In building your and sustaining your organizational culture, how do you balance ambition, ethics, and human dignity, especially when scaling under pressure, you know, in this over-pressurizing words? How do you do that?
As I said before, for me, it's about moving on organically. So scalability, of course, I need to make a profit at some point, which it is doing slowly. But for me, the human comes first. Human Highness started as a business. Everything was handcrafted by one grandmother. So that's how we started for the first 3.5 years, which I really loved, and she was fantastic. Then she, of course, didn't want to continue because of certain personal reasons and age and so on. And then I thought, okay, it's time now, again, organically, to move on. And that's when I looked for partners in different regions that can align with my values, but also with the human aspect. So I went to see where the craftsman is being done, how they work. I met the women and the men, and yeah, it was a great experience. I think the human needs to be at the forefront because it's individuals who will be wearing this. And I think energy transmits to what you wear. The fabric has a certain type of vibration, and if the people who are creating this for you are suffering or not doing well or not being treated well, or need to sleep under their tables, as we have seen for some other luxury brands, right? It just doesn't work for me.
Fantastic. As we say in Italy, fabrics are alive. Fabrics are brave. They come from humans, from animals, from plants. Yes. So fantastic.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Antonio, where do we start? You have done so many projects from architecture, design. You often reinterpret local tradition, heritage, materials through a contemporary lens, right? So there is a bit of tension in between traditional and modernity. And how do you ensure your design work honors local traditions and heritage while also making it relevant in a globalized world?
Yeah, this goes back with what we were just saying before, and also what previous keynote speaker mentioned about the globalization process. So it's very important to create a connection in the global world with the universal stories that everybody can be referred to. We are all humans, we all have the same needs. But also it's very important, we have seen more and more that we have to keep our own traditional stories in every country where we go. And as an architect and designer, when I have to design throughout, I have the fortune, being in New York, to be exposed to all different cultures, different people. So I have clients from Asia, Middle East, and the United States, America in general. And so whenever we do a project, we always ask our clients what is their inspiration, what they want us to do. And so we always want to tell, very importantly, in every project we do, we have to embed with the story, with the narrative. And this always, it's very important. As we are in a creative forum, creativity, what is the need of creativity? First of all, everything starts from function. This is one of my favorite philosophers, Nietzsche, said in an amazing book, Behind Good and Evil, he's talking, while we keep designing things different, consider that we always need the same chair. The chair doesn't need function of sitting, but the function is the reason to be of things, but behind things, or clothes actually, fashion is the things that change the most. Because we are not really using things for function. We are using things because they're embedded with stories, with narrative, with dreams, with values. And that's the majority of the reason to design things. So when we confront ourselves with all different global clients, we always wanted to go to understand the local culture and what we are designing and why. And it's beautiful to see as certain culture, they really want something, they say, local international. So we interact with the local professional. They want a local professional and us to create something that has this kind of international localized project. This above all in the Middle East. And then we have project where in Asia, recently I was interviewing for a project, and by my surprise I was caught by this client. I was telling, like, we wanted to study something that has to do with Asian culture. We bring something with international flavor, but they say, no, we want specifically Italian design. So it's interesting how certain culture, they express interest in the Italian design, because that make me reflect. As Italian, I feel humbled of what we have created as a culture and contributed in the world as creativity, because we've really established a sense of research throughout history of what beauty means. And we have touched a little bit of this idea of beauty in a universality sense. In that sense, we become global. So we touch universality through beauty and creativity.
Wow, fantastic. You are basically an Italian ambassador in the world, right? Because with your work, you present yourself, but you bring with you this added value of being Italian in the world. And if I understood well, most of your projects are in the US and in Italy. Are you exploring other markets around the world? What the future look like for your company?
Yeah, as I was, we briefly talked before, I know your experience has been also in Asia a lot. And the lack of being in your city is that literally in one day you can meet like people from around the world. You can meet Asian friends, Middle Eastern and Americans. So it's amazing how you really can travel the world in 24 hours being there. And so you get exposed to all different thinking, and it's very easy there to build a network throughout the world. Currently, I'm very interested in the Asian market and Middle Eastern market. I think the post-pandemic world has brought us to localized market. And I think, in a way, Asian market is pretty safe right now, and United States for sure. But it's an interesting time. I think like we are assisting at this deglobalization in a world where has dreamed this idea of unity market, but at the same time there's a lot of protectionism. So on one side there's this force of opening, but on one side we're also closing each country in a way, resources. So it's an interesting time to reflect and understand where the market of creativity can be more beneficial or not.
Fantastic, thank you very much. To add it up with what you said, do you think being Italian, it's an added value when you work in creative enterprises?
Yeah, as I said, I think the Italian, they have branded their national identity with design and creativity for different industry. We were dialoguing before. I have a lot of like respect for people that have devoted their entire life and they become their own brand. Like Giorgio Armani has been an incredible individual that transformed his own life, and he becomes his own vision and brand at the same time. So it's very hard to make that. It takes a lot of discipline and sacrifice, where you become the person behind your creation and you become the brand itself. So you become almost intangible. So, you know, brand is composed by a tangible aspect, but the successful brand, the majority is the intangible, the dream, what we were just discussing, because when you're creating something, the real value is what makes people dream, what makes people connect with that story, with that narrative. Because without the narrative and the experience that is embedded inside the design, it's just a merely function.
I see, empty box.
Yeah.
Fantastic. It's very nice to hear that, because, you know, we are in Italy. There's most of the people here attending are Italian. So it's also a message of hope, you know, for a lot of young people, that the fact that if you want to work in creative enterprises and you are Italian, it's actually an added value. So, you know, keep it up. Keep it up. Tessy, sir, I don't want you to be boring, but what is really, you had this, when you were 18, you were fighting in an actual combat field. How do you think this shaped your leadership skills? That, you know, within your set skills, how do you think it shaped yourself in terms of leader, thought leader, as a person, as a mother, as an entrepreneur? How did it happen, this?
Just one comment to my esteemed speaker colleague. I mean, look at the Italian design. I understand why everyone wants this. This is beautiful, right?
Look around.
Let's just acknowledge it. Wow. Absolutely incredible. It's so amazing. Yes, no, I think the road I took is not very conventional. My life has never been very easy, no, not a straight line. I think when you start your professional career at such a young age in a combat zone as a peacekeeper, having snipers aim at you, or the cars searched because of bombs and stuff like that, being deployed the first time away from your parents, I think there's a lot of things that come to mind, and it makes you very humble. I think I have seen women being really treated very badly. So for me, one of my utmost priorities, no matter what I will do, is to always be there for other fellow sisters, no matter where they're from and no matter what they do. I think there's a special place in hell for women that do not support women. And so that is the first thing. For my leadership style, I think I'm a leader that when things go wrong, I look in the mirror. And when things go right, I look at my team. Because a leader uplifts people. A leader listens more rather than speaks. So I listen to listen, and I don't listen to speak. And I think I want my people, the people that work with me, the people that are around me, my family, my children, to know that I am someone that you can always come to. And a lot of people say that as well, that they feel very comfortable to talk to me about literally everything and anything. And that is a privilege and a responsibility, and that is the type of leader I am. I want you to feel like you don't need to be afraid to do mistakes. And that I'm there. And as such, I think we need more leadership in companies. Yes, it's about scaling. Yes, we need to satisfy the shareholders and get the numbers up. I do understand all of that. I think, but we can do this by being kind to one another. We talked about empathy. We talked about all of these values we humans bring on board that AI can never replace. And, you know, as such, I think we need to bring this a little bit back to the workplace where we all can enjoy this. And because before I stop with that, is that you spend more time at work than at home. So it better be good, right?
Indeed, indeed. Probably I'm not supposed to ask you this question, but I'm still going to ask you because it's a personal question, probably not very relevant, but I really want to hear your opinion. We talk a lot about empathy within the business world, empathic leaders. Don't you think we don't talk enough empathy in politics?
I see empathy in politics. I do. My father's a politician. I have grown up in politics. Being part of the royal family, that is something we are very keen to provide as well. Something that comes natural to me, I guess, anyways. But I could see leaders to kind of like, work a bit on their empathy. That is true. I think when you are in the public eye, people, I think generally you want to be loved, you want to be accepted by other people, right? If you look biologically, if you would be segregated or pushed away from your tribe, you would die because people would hunt together and everything. So historically, we want to be in a tribe, we want to be in a community. So no one does something to be expelled from a community. Everyone, no matter who we're talking about, was a child once and wanted to be loved, right? And so I always think that when people don't show that empathy, it's trauma, it's experiences, nature versus nurture. And as such, you know, you cannot defeat negativity with negativity. When I see that someone is mean with me, and I have that, I have really no problem with that. It does happen. And people say horrible things or do horrible things or just like to get their own thing done, right? Like aggressively push towards their own gains. It's all fine with me because it's not my insecurity. As such, I kind of like try to be there a little bit more for that person and kind of like try to understand, okay, where does this insecurity come from? Because it's an insecurity that you need all of these materialistic or ego-driven attention to get to where you want, which is, again, I think as well, the question on values and culture and what you want in your life. So yes, in a nutshell, I think we need more empathy in the political space because we see these crises around the world. So many people are dying, suffering, being tortured, have nothing to eat, have no education, no right to have education, cannot dress the way they want, are raped while walking in the street, are being kidnapped, and all kinds of horrific things. So I think in this room, we are quite a pool of incredible, skilled, and connected people. And I think it's our responsibility, all of us, and the privilege that we hold in our own rights, to lead by example, to help our political leaders, through our actions, to be better.
Wow. I wish we had 3 hours and not 20 minutes. I genuinely do. So, Antonio, I'm going to go back to human identity in the age of technology, because I'm sure also in your field now, technology, AI, all these new software algorithms are taking over a lot of job and places. So the question is, in an age of digital technology and globalization, how can art and architecture help preserve human and cultural identity?
Yeah, that's a very important question. And, you know, we as a designer, you know, we use AI most recently, but in general, digital technology to design as a tool. I'm more worried when we use AI not as a tool or technology becomes an addictive system where we're losing sight of what reality is. But it's very important to understand that technology is a great added value to as a tool for designing. And in creating identity, going back to your question, I design, beside architecture, a lot of public art as well. So I have the fortune to have 4 sculptures in New York, 2 of which are permanent in Bryant Park in New York, wow. Next to 42nd Street. And it was such a privilege. The concept of this competition was to create a true landmark. So I was like, let me connect with what is the most iconic concept, which is creating this idea of a protector of the city, was after September 11. So I present this concept of 2 permanent sculpture. One, it's kind of reinventing this David. David is from the Bible to Florence, the guardians of the city of Florence. So I wanted to create the gardens of the city of New York. And then on the other side, a superhero connected to this hero. To the Bible hero of David. So the idea is kind of bringing always the reference to the superhuman quality of us as human in creating civilization. They bring us moving forward all the time, and they're created as layers throughout all this skyscraper and building, as they're actually these humans creating as architecture. Because I think as human being, as someone touched before, what distinguishes us from any other being is the creativity of creating things, creating built environment that protect us from an inhospitable world. But at the same time, as we are creating this world, we are creating our own dreams and our own vision, and the privilege of us as designer and the responsibility of us as designer, whatever we do, is that as we creating this magic world, we get the responsibility of people stepping inside this world, and we are creating the identity of these people, because whatever we design us back. So that's a great privilege of, as designer, we have, because we have that responsibility of designing the consciousness of other people. And that's what technology does today, because we can lose sight as the sense of reality. What is reality? So we spend a lot of times in understanding of social media, of the latest technology, of experiencing reality through the lenses of technology. So that's a big part of the design. And that design is very important in understanding who we are today as humans. So a new research I'm doing right now, I'm creating some sculpture based on some classics with AI, and I'm decomposing these classic figures with these layers of technology, and I'm kind of wanting to understanding as we are creating a new identity or we are destroying this identity. So there is always that tension in the creative process. We are destroying what we just created, or we're creating something new, and that's up to us to respond.
Wow. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So from my side, the questions are done. You know, being Italian, I can stay here and talk for the next 4 hours, but I don't think it's the aim of the forum. Is there any questions from the public? Does anybody want to ask something? Everybody being shy, okay. Taiwo, are we having nothing? Okay, so Tessy, Antonio, thank you very much for your time. It's been the honor of my life to be here. Thank you so much for everybody in the room. Thank you.